We're here with Professor Ghassan Hage at Melbourne University, and you're Professor of Anthropology and Social Theory, and I think that's something we'll be picking up throughout this talk, this combination of anthropology and social theory. First, let's talk about the theme, or one of the themes of this section, which is multiculturalism. What is multiculturalism, and how have you critiqued it? I think you've been a public intellectual here and worldwide, really, reimagining and rewriting what multiculturalism has become and perhaps what it should become.
Yeah. Well, I think it has been one of the distinctive elements of the way I started thinking about multiculturalism from the start. As an anthropologist, the fact that in Australia, but also very much around the world, when I started thinking about multiculturalism, the dominant approach was based in political economy, in the political economy of migration, how working class, or to be working class, to become working class people migrate from the third world to Europe, to Australia, and become integrated into the societies they migrate to. And one of the things that always struck me is that there was not much an analysis of the experience of multiculturalism. There was a kind of like what you call an objectivist gaze, in the sense of the analysts think of themselves as sitting somewhere above the foray and looking at multiculturalism as if it was existing. Anthropology, on the whole, had a lot of work on migrant experiences, taking a specific migrant culture and looking at that experience. But multiculturalism as such very rarely was done from a perspective of how do people actually experience multiculturalism. So my first work on multiculturalism started through this emphasis on the fact that a migrant might think that multiculturalism is a wonderful thing, that it's giving them an opportunity to feel better about their culture. And at the same time, an Anglo person might be experiencing that same reality very differently, and experiencing multiculturalism as a buzz that they get from having someone from another culture present in their space, and they're enjoying it. And so my approach to multiculturalism started with this idea, sort of like, how do people experience multiculturalism? So I never really, despite people sometimes interpreting me this way, I never spoke about multiculturalism in the abstract like this. So in my first work in White Nation, it was about the white experience of multiculturalism. So when I say in the book that multiculturalism is about management of space, I'm saying this is how it is experienced by someone from the dominant culture.
And I think that's been a shift to anthropology traditionally has been studying, from the bottom up, if you like, and has rarely studied the elite, or has rarely studied the ones in power. There's often been an emphasis on studying the powerless, and in a way it's a lot of the work that you refer to was focused on the migrants and how they were experiencing a policy framework, maybe not even a reality, but policies that were acting upon them. I think that's another issue when we talk about multiculturalism, the difference between the social reality of lived experience that you describe, both in White Nation, from the point of view of the Anglo, or what you term white, because you don't like that term, and also from the point of view of migrants, as opposed to the policy framework that governments create and update and states create.
Yes, it's. I mean, if you look at the literature on multiculturalism in Australia, in the US, in the UK, not that much elsewhere, but in my experience, there's a kind of policy fetishism, in the sense of you think the government comes up with policy, and suddenly social reality becomes the policy, as if the policy of government is so powerful that it molds reality completely. But of course it contributes to do so. But again, the experience of a bureaucrat, so the bureaucratic culture of multiculturalism is itself a cultural milieu that anthropologists have to insert themselves in to study. Likewise, white multiculturalism, the multiculturalism of certain specific ethnicities, because again, it's a big difference if you experience multiculturalism from the position of a minority culture, which is found as useful and enjoyable by the dominant culture, and therefore is welcomed into the multicultural fold, and a minority which does not cook very nice food, and therefore nobody wants to be multicultural about them. Again, their experience of multiculturalism is very different.